What's good, you marks? This is NWO Kai. So WrestleMania Night 1 happened, and there's going to be a separate video or maybe a podcast. I'm not too sure how I'm going to do it yet. But during the WrestleMania pre-show, WWE announced the acquisition of legendary Lucha Libre promotion, Lucha Libre AAA. And my God, has this just threw the entire wrestling world in Mexico into a frenzy. And the battle for Mexico between AEW and WWE has just gotten crazy. But let's get into it. If you're new here, do not get left out the loop. Catch a vibe, like and subscribe, join that notification nation, and get busy in the comments. Help me get to 500 subscribers so I can eventually get to 1,000. So I can eventually get to 2,000. I'm going to build this shit up brick by boring brick. So I'm about to read the article from caveseats.com that explains the acquisition. WWE acquires Lucha Libre AAA, announces Worlds Collide event in Los Angeles. The global pro wrestling landscape shifted as WWE acquired the longtime Lucha Libre promotion AAA. It's something really important to us, says Dorian Dahlon Pina. I'm hoping I'm not butchering his name. General Manager of AAA. It's the beginning of a great chapter, a new chapter in the story of Lucha Libre. Pina reflected on his family's deep legacy behind AAA, founded by his uncle and run for 33 years by his parents. He spoke with pride about the promotion's journey, addressing AAA's roster of talent. Pina said the entire organization was proud to have reached this level of recognition. God, I can't talk right now. Several stars from both WWE and AAA joined the announcement on stage, including WWE's Rey Mysterio, honestly the biggest luchador in the world, members of the LWO Penta, Legado Fantasma, Andrade, Stephanie Vicure, and AAA's own Hijo del Vikingo, or we know him as Vikingo. I'm going to get to him in a second. And company president Marcela Pena Herrada, highlighting the international unity behind the deal. WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque expressed deep respect for the AAA legacy and the cultural power of Lucha Libre. The impact of Lucha Libre, the cultural impact it has, resonates through generations and cannot be overstated, Levesque said. We look to further that tradition. God, I can't speak today. I don't know what's going on. But Levesque also confirmed the return of Worlds Collide, a cross-branded event featuring NXT set for June 7th at the Forum in Los Angeles. Originally hosted by WCW in the early 90s, the event introduced Lucha Libre to a global audience. Well, I didn't know that the Worlds Collide branding, it was called When Worlds Collide when WCW was still around, when they were doing shows with AAA back in the day. So that's kind of a full circle moment that WWE's been using this as a brand for these past couple of years for PLE and pay-per-view events. And now they bought the company where the name originated from to use as an event for their first outing as a subsidiary of WWE, or should I say a subsidiary of TKO and Endeavor. And this is just crazy because of the relationship that AEW had with the promotion. I remember back in the day, you had Kenny Omega be the Mega Champion, the AAA's top title. You had FTR win their World Tag Team titles. I want to say the second or first All-In, the Young Bucks defended the AAA Tag Team titles against the Lucha Bros, which is crazy that they're both Lucha Bros are in WWE. And then, as I'm watching WrestleMania, they went back to when they announced the acquisition on the pre-show, and they announced it on the WrestleMania show. And I see a familiar face that has made appearances in the AEW that is signed to AAA. A man known as Vikingo, who threw a cheap shot at El Grande El Americano, and I'll slap the shit out of you. You say that's Chad Gable. Sorry, I'm just playing, y'all. But anyway, this is just crazy, man. This is so bizarre because I never thought that WWE will actually outright and buy like a major wrestling promotion in 2025. Because AAA is one of the biggest Mexican promotions in Mexico. I want to say it started off after the owner was with CMLL, I want to say the biggest and oldest wrestling promotion in the world. He left CMLL and started AAA. But man, this is crazy because AEW has been working with AAA. They had some of their stars appear on AAA shows back in the day. Like I said, they had wrestlers with AAA branded titles. Shoot, I want to say back in the day, there were some TNA wrestlers that worked for AAA. I want to say Jeff Jarrett is a former AAA mega champion. I want to say him and Kurt Angle had a match at AAA. I can't remember, but they also have their own little WrestleMania event going on called Triple Mania. But anyway, I don't want to deviate too off topic. Like I said, AEW has been trying to smooth things over for the longest with AAA and CMLL stars. It was to the point where if a AAA star will appear on AEW television, a CMLL star couldn't. And that was a big criticism when AEW had their working relationship with CMLL, still do. And there was wrestlers who were signed to All Elite Wrestling that also made appearances in AAA, that if a AAA, like if a CMLL star was on the show, AAA stars couldn't be on the show and vice versa. And then it just added to the criticism of AEW signing guys and not using them. But you're going to have a whole nother wrestler from a whole nother promotion that the American crowd don't know anything about on your show. Was a double problem because, like I said, AAA and CMLL wrestlers wouldn't get together, and you're benching wrestlers on your roster to show new wrestlers, which doesn't make any type of sense if you ask me. And I remember a couple of days prior to Mania, I remember Nick Khan had an interview with Colin Cowherd, and he was pretty much stating that WWE had intentions to expand out into Mexico, which could have been a backdoor to the rest of Latin America. And then after that announcement, after that podcast, you just suddenly hear about AEW having a show in Mexico, Grand Slam Mexico, with CMLL talent in Arena Mexico. So this was just a big chess move in the battle for Mexico and for the Latin world. And my God, WWE just hit AEW with the biggest checkmate. And one thing that had me thinking also, would this be the first of many acquisitions? Like, if WWE, let's say WWE decides to, okay, instead of having NXT brands, because I want to say that was their intention and their attempt for global localization, let's just say they just buy one of the biggest wrestling promotions in the country, and that just be their footnote in the company. You get the wrestlers who are big stars in those areas, in those companies, and you slap the WWE branding on, boom, that's all you need to do. Very corporate, and just say, fuck it, buy out the competition. A page out of Vince McMahon's old textbook when he sat there and was just acquiring all the territories back in the day. This is great move on a business standpoint, because you, instead of just having a partnership with promotion, okay, say, fuck it, we're just going to buy you, but you can maintain autonomy. So this is just imagine all the stuff that AE is doing right now. Like, the NXT brand has just been getting a massive overhaul in the past couple of years. They have the WWE ID program, which is like have partnerships with like all these indie promotions, which is like a fast track way to get to WWE and have their support of indie wrestlers financially. Not only will this persuade Mexican wrestlers to try to get their foot into the WWE door, but they have AAA now, so they can just, like, if you're signed to AAA, then that could be a fast track way to get to the WWE, or they can just sit there and just use AAA to, like I said, to keep their foot in the region. But now that it's owned by WWE, business is going to most definitely boom, because like it's obvious that WWE is the world leader in pro wrestling. It has been for the longest. So this is just going to make wrestlers and wrestling promotions just gravitate towards WWE. And this also, going back to what I was saying about, will this be the first of many acquisitions of companies? Remember that video that was going around where The Rock was wearing a New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt and he had a Rubik's Cube? Could this be a sign of things to come? Was that foreshadowing that WWE planned to buy New Japan Pro Wrestling? Because New Japan and AAA, they have been in the game for a long time. New Japan and AAA history of having working relationships with WCW and WWE back in the day, long back in the day, before the Forbidden Door, before WCW went out of business. WWE was actually doing business with other wrestling promotions. So I'm curious what they're going to do with this. We have their first show as a WWE branded company, and I'm just kind of excited because I think Lucha Libre, the whole style, the aesthetic, the mask, I just think it's fucking dope. And they kind of just look like Power Rangers, if you ask me, which is a good thing. Man, I think, like I said, I think this is going to be the first of many acquisitions because WWE, they is not playing. They is really bringing the smoke to AEW, which I have quite a few videos talking about more things that Nick Khan said when he was being interviewed, because he wanted all the smoke. But before I end this video, I want to say, like, what was this? Like, that's something that I've been seeing when I woke up this morning before I record this video, and people were sitting there saying, is this a way for Alberto Del Rio to come back to WWE? Which I'm a little skeptical because of his past of him saying what he said about Triple H, saying what he said about the company, and as well as the one time where he got arrested and charged with kidnapping, and he was kind of blacklisted for a while. There was like a video of him showing up at any promotion where there was barely anyone there, and then like a couple months later, we see Alberto Del Rio in a fully packed out AAA ring. So I'm kind of curious if this will be a way to get Alberto back to WWE, which I'm very skeptical. But, and also before I end this video, I'm just curious about what is AEW's response to all this, because that is one hell of a chess move. Buying one of the biggest wrestling promotions of all of Mexico, we had a working relationship with your biggest rival. But what do you guys think of the acquisition? Do you think it's a solid move? Do you think that WWE is just being very corporate and just doing what Vince McMahon did back in the day and just buying out the territories and just doing scorched earth methods to be the industry leader? I mean, WWE is the industry leader, but they are really putting the gas on AEW, on the smoke with AEW. But get in the comments, you guys, what do you think of this acquisition? Think AEW will find a way to find a strategy to counteract this? I highly doubt it. Do you think New Japan is next? Get in the comments, you guys. I'm going to end the video with that. Stay tuned, stay lit, and stay wavy. Peace.